What's up, Sons of Montezuma? The 2023 San Diego State football season is now just over a week away. Joining us on today's show is Aztecs defensive lineman number 39, Garret Fountain. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Sons of Montezuma podcast. We are deep into fall camp. This is your host, Mateo San Diego. I am joined with the dirtiest of the Dans.
Yo.
He stays very clean, but he's so dirty at the same time. I don't know how you do it. What is going on, Dirtball Dan? Good to see you, man.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm getting antsy because football is almost here. You know, it's hot. We're going to play week 0. We're going to be sweating our cojones out there at Snapdragon Stadium, but it doesn't matter. We are getting ready for this football season. It's our 5th year covering Aztecs football, and I cannot wait. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because we've been doing this. We're going to keep doing this, and we need your support. We appreciate everybody joining in and subscribing on YouTube and supporting all of our NIL Sons of Monty team members. And today we have another Sons of Montezuma NIL team member is joining us today, making their Sons of Montezuma podcast debut. Dan, I know you're excited about this one, man. What gets you pumped up about Mr. Garret Fountain on the defensive side of the ball?
I think, just the way he goes about his business on the field, man. He plays really hard. He plays really aggressive. In some ways, he has kind of come out of nowhere. You know, he didn't have the big name coming into the program, and he earned his opportunities, and he's made some big plays the last couple of years.
Absolutely, man. He's a name that may not be the most recognizable name out here in San Diego, but I think after this senior season, he may be making a name for himself. So I'm excited to get into it. All right, joining us today in his senior season out of Turlock, California, down on the defensive line, we're happy to introduce the newest member of the Sons of Montezuma NIL team, number 39, Garret Fountain. Garret, welcome to the show, man. Good to see you.
Tavion Thomas, Cincinnati transfer, featured back here for Brewer. Pressure again, Charlie Brewer in trouble. It's Fountain. A second sack of the first quarter here for Garret.
All right, there he is.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, Garret? How you doing, man?
Doing good. Doing really good.
Really excited to talk to you, man. I know there's probably a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know. You seem to be pretty quiet on social media and stuff like that. So really excited to get to know you a bit.
Appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you very much. It's good to be here. A lot of months preparation leading up to this, ready to get this thing going, ready to get this season underway.
So tell us, Garret, a little bit about your background. We want to get to know who you are. You know, you're a senior here on the Mesa, but Turlock, California, we're real interested in your story, your background. How did you come to play football? Take it back to the Pop Warner days or what have you. When did you start playing football?
Sounds good. I started playing when I was in 6th grade. My parents held him off to 7th grade. Then my brother was like, you need to let Garret play football. And so they let me play a year earlier and then just kind of took off from there. After the first year of conditioning, I didn't really know how I felt about it. But then after I played my 7th grade and 8th grade year, I kind of fell in love with it. But juggling that and baseball and was trying to decide which one I wanted to play most. But then, really just had a couple of really good years in high school with a lot of good buddies. And my brother played college football at a junior college up by Humboldt. And he was really like, you're going to make me really upset if you don't try to pursue football a little bit. Because I'm a little bit bigger than him by about 60 pounds and 3 inches. So
Very
Were
cool.
you always on the defensive side of the ball?
So when I first started, I played safety and quarterback. Seems like everybody does that. But then high school, I played quarterback mainly my freshman year. And then I transferred schools, and that's when I started playing outside linebacker and really basically just playing defense. But I'd play tight end and receiver as well. We didn't throw as much at the second high school I went to. We didn't throw as much, and we had a really great athlete at quarterback. So they kept him there, and I wasn't, growing into my legs yet to where I was running pretty good. So the other kid, he was fast, and I wasn't as fast. So they put me on defense and just kind of went from there.
Tell me about Turlock area, though. I know that's near the valley, right? That's in that area.
That's smack dab right in the Central Valley. So Turlock is the city where the high school I went to. So I went to Turlock High School, but I'm born and raised out of Denair, California, which is only 15 minutes from there, but it's a little further out in the country. And then I live outside of town anyways, 5-10 minutes. So I grew up we were raising beef cattle. Then after about when I turned 8, I think we put in walnut trees and we farmed. And then my parents started a catering company. My dad started it. And then met my mom, and they've been in business for over 30 years together. And so that was right out our back door. So since I was old enough to wash dishes and work, I was out there working or doing something, feeding cows. And then I was also changing fence and then fixing sprinklers once we put in trees. And then so always kind of in the agricultural world. So love it though. Agriculture is huge right there in the Central Valley, and it's what everybody does, and it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of hard work too. So
big time.
Mm-hmm.
So take me back to when your recruitment started to pick up. I follow the recruiting pretty closely, and I know, like I was saying before, you're kind of quiet on social media, and I didn't see a lot of stuff on you on the recruiting website. So really, nobody had a good feel.
Yeah.
Did you do that on purpose? Just not your thing? You didn't want to do that?
No, I don't know. Social media just really isn't my thing. Honestly, it's one of those things where I'd rather be outside and off my phone doing something, hunting or fishing with friends, family, or hanging out doing really anything, working or whatever. But my recruitment process was a lot different from a lot of people. So kind of started after my junior season. My brother once again was like, hey, if you don't make a highlight tape, like, we're going to fight and it's going to be bad. So I was like, all right, well, I believe you on that. So anyways, made that video, and I really didn't post it. I posted on Twitter, but I didn't follow really any coaches. I maybe followed one or two. And as far as like Division I colleges, and I posted it on there, just like, there it is. I don't know what else to do. My brother's recruitment process was similar. He didn't really know what was going on. So I didn't really have anything to learn from. But another high school about 25, 30 minutes away, my travel baseball coach was a baseball coach there. And he went out to lunch with Coach Schmidt and the high school football coach there. And Coach Schmidt asked basically, is there any other kids in this area that I should know about maybe? And so that high school coach for the football team was like, hey, you should check this kid out. And my baseball coach was there and texted my parents. He was like, hey, can you send Garrett's highlight film? So my mom sent him that, and I guess he went and watched it. And then the next week he was at my school, and a week later I was going to pick up a prom tux, and he called me and said I had a scholarship to San Diego State. So that was kind of just out of the blue. And then as far as other schools, like I went to a team 7-on-7 for high school in UC Davis and got an offer there after the 7-on-7, and went to a Sac State camp and got an offer there. But really it was a lot different. I really didn't post anything. I didn't email schools, and I really didn't know anything about it. I was just playing football, having fun.
And so we're talking about Coach Schmidt, the offensive line coach, right?
Offensive line coach. Yes, sir. He was my area was his like kind of recruitment area. And now Coach Goff that's his area. And he always tells me when he goes to Turlock, gives me a hard time. So
good on Schmitty.
Once they offered, did you take some visits, or how long did it take you before you committed, or did you want to go to San Diego? Do you want to be in San Diego?
I'd been in San Diego one time for a baseball tournament, and then I'd never really went and explored any of it. So I didn't go to campus. So we went on an official visit, went on an unofficial, and I met Coach Arnett and some of those coaches, and talked with Coach Hall. And anyways, after that, I took a visit there and just kind of fell in love with some of the team aspect, the camaraderie, and then the fans in San Diego, and met a lot of good dudes that were still there. Like Caden McDonald was there, Parker Houston, Josh Bringell, he was my host, and then Connor Mitchell, and just had a great time, and was like, this is guys kind of like me, just guys that want to go and work and play football. And it was far from home, but it wasn't too far, so I could get back to home if I wanted to on the weekends. So it was just, I came to San Diego State and kind of fell in love with it, and been here ever since, and haven't had any second thoughts about it. So
did you grow up a Fresno State fan?
I did not. No, to be honest with you, I never really watched college sports or sports that much until I got into college. Really, just always outside. There was always something else to do outside, so that's kind of what I did.
So does your brother get to make it down for many games, or check you out and play?
Yeah, so he's been to quite a few. He was my first couple of years. He was still going to Oklahoma State and going to school there, and he was a duck and goose guy during the fall, so he was kind of living the dream. But then, he's been the last couple of years. He's been to quite a few, and so he's kind of taking over my family's business right now for my dad, and giving him less of a headache and stress, so he can just kind of relax. He's kind of in the middle of doing that, so he won't make as many as my parents, but he comes as many as he can.
Okay, my brother is a bit of a hunter as well. You got to tell me, what is living the dream? What does that mean, man? Tap into that a little bit. What does that mean, living the dream?
Well, he was going to school, and he was a duck and goose guy, so he was taking people out, going duck hunting, going goose hunting, and he'd spend all day. It's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, and it's hard work. He's out there from 3 a.m. till dark, just either setting up duck and goose hunts and blinds, and then also in the evening he's going and scouting and whatever and stuff like that. So, for us, growing up, my dad really didn't play sports in high school. My mom was the athlete; she played college basketball, and then, but my dad, he just worked and hunted and fished, and ever since we were little, he was always taking us, and so that's what we grew up doing. And we pretty much grew up on wild game meat, even though we didn't have, we had all our food and leftovers from our catering company, but so just going out and being able to go out and spend time in the outdoors and kind of learn life in that aspect it's a lot of fun. I recommend people get into that, because that's what it's all about.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I do see the little bit of social media that you do, man. I know it's definitely a big part of your off season, man, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
Very awesome. What were you hunting out this off season, man? I gotta ask. We gotta jump into that a little bit. What were you hunting out in your off season?
When we came back from Hawaii, it was kind of just straight into duck season. I didn't take much time to rest. It was just kind of right into duck hunting, and that was so every morning getting up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning, going hunting, and then in the spring there wasn't much. There were a couple of times we went turkey hunting and stuff, and then some fishing, and then actually we have a place on the west side, and it was deer season open for archery, and was able to get up there and do a little bit of hunting, and ended up getting a deer with my bow, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. 110 when I go hunting, and this year it was nice. It was only 90 degrees when I was hunting, so it wasn't as bad.
The hunter, we got to incorporate that in one of the designs somehow, man. The hunter. Absolutely. Garret Fountain. Archery is something, man, I would love to learn that. That's like, that's as basic as you can get, right? That's just right Absolutely. Down to it.
Yep. pretty much.
All right, back to football, Dan. Back to football.
All right, Garrett. So, okay, well, first of all, I was going to tell him, I was like, there's actually some good grounds out here where people do a lot of duck hunting if you go east into like
I
El Centro and Brawley and stuff like that.
Yeah, last year I made it out to El Centro and got a limit of ducks, and
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'd never been out there and just kind of went out there and tried my luck, got some information from a friend of mine down here, and I just said I'm going to go. Went out there, spent the night. We didn't have football the next day, so I spent the night out there in my truck and woke up and went hunting and ended up with a limit of ducks. It was a lot of fun.
Man, you're a man's man, man.
Nah, I can relate, man. I got a big brother. He's all into that stuff, man. Total all that sportsman stuff, fishing, hunting. He'll go disappear over there out east, and total likeness. How can you describe? Are there any similarities to when you're out on a hunt and when you're in a game? Are there any similarities at all, or is there any connection on how you approach the game and your position, your task at hand?
I would say there is, just with the focus that you have to have. As far as when you're hunting, you're always looking for little details, tracks or signs or whatever. And same with defense. I mean, you're always looking for little tells in the offense that are going to give away something, and then, like deer have their certain thing that they're going to do every day. You look at offenses, they're going to do certain things every game. So, I mean, they kind of correlate together as far as they have a pattern, and you just got to find it. And once you find it, then you'll be successful. I would say that's what goes together, goes hand in hand with the hunting and football. And then also just someone has the ball, you just got to track them down. What's going to be the best angle to get to them? That's kind of how it is.
I thought you were gonna say that you just visualize the quarterback being a turkey and you're going for the kill, man.
Going for it? Yeah. No, turkeys are quick. Turkeys are quick. A lot of people don't realize, but turkeys, when you're just walking by them, they're not as smart. But when you're hunting them, they're a totally different bird, and they're quick and they're smart.
Oh, that's great. So tell us a little bit about adjusting to San Diego. Aside from that kind of stuff, I mean, you're enjoying it. Obviously, all 4 years you've enjoyed your time out here in San Diego, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Really, the biggest part was just the amount of people that were around. I've come kind of a small town, and I come here. It's a big city, and a lot of people are always visiting. And to me, that was at first was just kind of made me a little homesick. But luckily, with the guys that we had on the team and the coaches, it's a good atmosphere to be around. You're always having a good time, either working or just hanging out with your buddies. I mean, that kind of helped me get over that homesick stage. So, but yeah, no, I've loved it for the last 4 years.
Good. That's what the college experience should be like. You know what I mean?
I always think like that first freshman year, especially when you're playing football and you start to question your own ability, right? Like, how good are you? How you're seeing some of these older kids that are good. And I mean, it must be just, it must be kind of nerve wracking at first coming in that first year.
Absolutely. That first year is tough just because when you get here in July, it's like you're thrown right into workouts. And with Coach Hall, he doesn't take it easy on anybody, and which is good, which is needed. But it's just kind of a different – you don't know what to expect. The last time you were here was on an official visit, and everybody was like, can't wait to have you, can't wait to see you having fun, being nice, and then you get here and it's straight to work. So, I mean, it's a lot different. You see the different characters for sure. But then, you're right into summer workouts, and then it's straight into fall camp. And I think for young guys coming in, that fall camp, those first 4 weeks is where it gets tough, just because you don't know what it's really like until you get here. Because I mean, from where I came from, high school football wasn't like that as far as all the work, the meetings, the lifts, the practices, and all that stuff. So that's a lot to handle as an 18-year-old coming in, but it kind of makes you grow up quick, and you get that ball rolling, and you just start going with it, and you show up every day with a good attitude, and you're gonna be able to get through it, and you'll be fine.
When did you know that you could play at this level? Like, when did you feel confident? You're like, no, what? I'm gonna be successful at this level.
Yep. Really that 2021 season, after 2020 it was COVID. You know, it was my second year, and I was doing a lot of practicing at Sam and got in a couple games, and but I didn't know. I felt like, I don't know, I hadn't made an impact yet. And then 2021 rolls around, and that spring of 2021, I got a little bit bigger and got a little bit faster and stronger. And then we got into fall camp, and I felt really good. And 2021 season, Coach Maddox was rotating me in, and I gave it my all, just played with my hat on fire and ended up making some plays. And like I said, that Utah game was a huge confidence boost for me, where Caden McDonald went out with a shoulder injury right there right before half, and I came in the first play. We ran a stunt, and I kind of read the tackle. He went down, so I didn't end up doing the stunt, and had a free shot right at the quarterback and got a sack. And then the next play, I tipped the ball right at the line of scrimmage and kind of had a swat or pass deflection, and then had a couple plays later, got it in on an assist, and then had another sack a few plays later after that, all within 10 snaps. And that's kind of where I realized, I was just going out there and playing and doing my job, and things started happening. Once you do your job, things are going to happen. So that's where I kind of felt like the speed of the game, and as long as I give it my all with my effort, things are going to happen.
Hey Aztec Nation, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button to our channel. And then stop on over to sonsofmontezuma.com, where you can find more SDSU sports news, articles, podcasts, and the most unique Aztecs-inspired merchandise in our original NIL shop. This year's Sons of Montezuma NIL team features quarterback Jalen Maiden, receiver Mekhi Shaw, running back Keenan Kristen, defensive lineman Garret Fountain, and linebacker Cooper McDonald. With every purchase, you directly support our student athletes. So make sure to stop over at sonsofmontezuma.com today. Go Aztecs! I see your redshirt season, 2019. You were the special team scout player of the year. And I for all you listeners out there and watchers, anytime you see a young guy get some type of scout player of the year in those early years, that's an excellent indication of, like what you're saying, that hard work, that preparedness, just being out there ready at that young age. And it's no wonder that, when your time came, you were ready. You were ready. And that Utah game, that had to be one of the craziest games that I've ever been a part of in Aztec football and seen. I can't imagine for you guys on the field. What was like a welcome to D1 moment, when you're out there on the field, against an opponent, or just, with your teammates? I know I asked this question to Cedric last year. Like, what was your welcome to D1 moment?
I think my welcome to D1 moment was for me pretty lucky. It was our first game against Weber State, and this is kind of the main story I tell everybody, is we run out of the tunnel. I'm a freshman. I played in those first 4 games. We played Weber State our first game, and it was at home. Run out of the tunnel. There's 40-something thousand fans there, and we're running. Fireworks are going off. I'm just like, oh, man. I can't even feel my body. I got so much adrenaline running. And they flipped a coin, and we end up receiving, and I was on kickoff return. And then we go out there. I'm on the field, kind of stretching, warming up, just kind of looking to see who I got to block. And I was on the front line, watched them come out, and they weren't real big, but they're fast. And then there was one real big dude, and he lined up, and I was like, man, he's a lot bigger. I was like, he's going to be tougher to block for whoever has to block that. And sure enough, they start lining up, and he falls right into the spot where I'm looking for, and he ends up being my guy. And I'm like, oh, man, here we go. I was like, I was counting the 1, 2, 3, 4, shoot, you know, it was one of those moments where I was just like, uh-oh, we'll see how this goes. And they kicked the ball off, and I think it was a touchback. I'm not quite sure. Or he might have, I think he ended up making the play, whatever it was. So I felt like I felt horrible because I didn't do my job, but I went to go back and I went to go to block him, and he just ran, basically pushed me aside and ran right by me. And I'll go, oh man, this is fast. This is not like what I was expecting. So I would say that was my welcome to D1 moment, where I was like, you know, better buckle up and get ready for it. So,
oh man, talking about Utah.
mm-hmm.
So that first game in 2021, when you faced against them, fast forward the next year, and we made that road trip out there in Salt Lake City. And of course, that game didn't go as we all hoped it would go.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was one thing I walked away from that game knowing, is that Garret Fountain was here to play. And I remember, you know, walking away like, man, okay, he's here. Like that. I don't know if you would describe that as like a coming out party type of game, but it was clear to me, like, okay, this dude means business. Do you remember that game? You remember how that performance went?
In this first half, third down and long, rising, goes down.
Whoa.
Just a bully play by Garret Fountain, who's played great for San Diego State. Man.
We talked about San Diego State being confident. You won't see a more confident blitz than that. Fountain ran over his blocker. Just ran him over. You can't protect your guy from this. Watch him. A back tries to pick him up, goes right over him. Wow.
Yes, sir. It was one of those games where it was such a fun environment, because we pulled up and that place was a packed house, and it was all red and with white in there, and you knew that there wasn't any Aztecs fans really beside of our good loyal ones, where we had about 200 people there. I was still, and then
except us crazies, us knuckleheads.
Yeah, exactly. Those my mom and dad are right there with you, so they're
awesome.
There. But anyways, yeah, no, it was just a fun environment. And the year before, we knew that, you know, if we come out here and stick to our game plan, then we can do some business. And we battled, and we were neck and neck, and then just a few things kind of went wrong, and that's where we I feel, fell apart and strayed away from our game plan a little bit. But other than that, I mean, I was just going out there to like I said, I was just seeing red, basically. I mean, I just wanted to do whatever I could for our team and do my job the best I could, and then everybody else was trying the same thing. So I know it wasn't any one particular fault. We just, as a group collectively, we didn't come ready for the long haul, and we ended up not how we wanted to be, but it kind of made us tougher a little bit, I felt.
Now, last year, you made the move down on the line, correct?
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, was that kind of just a natural progression, you feel, or was there, you know, something behind that?
I think it was kind of set up from the beginning. I don't know. No, Caden McDonald returned for his 6th year, and after getting those reps last year or the year before in 2021 at outside linebacker, I think they knew that, you know, I could help the defense in a way, and so they wanted to be able to mix me in. And with our D line, we really had 2 returners, and then our transfer Justice, Jonah's brother. And it was one of those things where we didn't have a lot of depth on the D line. And Coach Maddox and Coach Hoke were like, you know what, we want you to move the D line and put on some weight if you can, just because a linebacker room was stacked, and I mean still is, but I mean we had a lot of talent in there, and so it was one of those things where we had guys that could play there, but not as many guys who were maybe older in the program that knew the defense as well as maybe I did, just because I was going into my 4th season. So it was one of those things where, yeah, coach comes in and says, hey, we're moving you to the D-line. The next day I'm in the D-line room and gained some weight. Yes, sir. I mean, so that was basically it. So, I mean, put on 30 or 20 pounds last year as quick as I could and ended up having a good time down there at the D-line. It was a lot of fun.
You know what? You actually bring up something I'm always interested when. So tell me about adding 20 pounds. People think it's so easy, right?
Yeah.
What did a typical diet, or what did a typical day of eating feel like?
Typical day of eating would be, I mean, Coach Hall always kind of told us in the locker room, it was like one of those things where if you want to gain weight, then you need to be eating all the time. He's like, we've had guys in the program who were committed to it, and they'd wake up at 3 a.m. and eat a PB&J. So sometimes I would do that, and then a big thing was, I mean, a big breakfast, some snacks in between, big lunch, a lot of carbs. I mean, pastas and then beef and stuff like that. And luckily, with a catering company and being able to have venison and wild game, my freezer was always full. I brought down bought a little chest freezer, so that was always full, and just eating like a madman. And then the biggest thing that I feel like everybody can do that, have big meals throughout the day, but the biggest thing was 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, have 2 really big PB&Js and a big glass of whole milk, and just that pretty much every day. Sooner or later, you're going to get those 20 pounds. So
Peanut butter for sure.
Yeah.
And then are you like weighing yourself all the time? Because I mean,
Yes.
you become obsessive with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for the team's sake, I mean, don't want to let the team down, and so it was weighing in every morning, every afternoon, see if I'd made any progress, and then every evening, like, I'd see that I only gained 2 or 3 pounds throughout the day. Well, I need to go back and eat some more right before I go to bed and try to gain another pound or 2.
Yeah, I always hear people just talk about, oh yeah, I gained 20 pounds, but it's not that easy. You know, I know there's a lot of that goes into it.
It takes some time.
So Garrett, man, how about so tell me what this offseason's been like. I know you have a new coach, and you've actually had a few coaches during your time on the defensive line. So, you know, like, tell me what you're seeing in this offseason, what you expect, what work you've done, or what are you trying to improve on?
Really, for me, I mean, this offseason, yes, with a new coach coming in, but with Coach Maddox and Coach Hoke, especially, I know they're going to bring in guys who fit our program and fit the mentality of it. And Coach Boje came in and didn't miss a step. You know, he's right on beat, and he came in. He's a great guy. He's a good coach as well, and that's a huge thing. I mean, Coach Enna was a really great coach. As you can see, he wouldn't have the job he has now without being a great coach. And so then this offseason, we just, as far as a team, just getting back to the fundamentals and the basics, just, you know, working hard and straining your body, straining your minds, and pushing through that threshold of, you know, what kind of pain can I endure? And not like physical pain, but I mean, when you're running or lifting, you know, you need to push yourself and see what you can get and to get the best out of you. So I feel like we've just been doing that, and the group of guys that have been here, I mean, we've been together for a while now, and especially like the 2019 class that came in, we're gelling, and I think that was a big thing too. We just trying to get everybody on the same page as far as having one goal in mind and one goal in common, and that's just to win. Like we said it today, so I forget who said it. It was either Sidarius or Jalen Maiden. He was like, you know, we just want to win, and that's the ticket right there. Is we as a team collectively just want to win, and then otherwise, personally, me is been trying to just work on the game at D line. You know, I've only really had 1 year of experience there, and so I'm wanting to get better as far as moves and being technical and with my hands and feet, and make sure I'm always in the right spot and my eyes are on the right key and stuff like that. So I mean, it's been a really good offseason, without a doubt.
One question I'm curious about now is, I know at one point Brady Hoke was really involved in the defensive line. Is he still? Is he still help you guys out?
Absolutely, yeah. I think for him, that's where he can't always be there as much as he wants, but whenever he gets a few minutes, that's where he loves to go. And no matter what it is, he's going to stop in. And I mean, a lot of the days, like once we get into fall camp, he's going to be there. I know he's going to be there every day. And I mean, last year he was in there a bunch. The year before that, he was in there a bunch. And, having Coach Hoke there as a new guy might be intimidating, but he's one of the best D-line coaches in the nation and knows what he's talking about. And, any little piece of advice from him, I try to soak up as much as I can from him, because it's all gold. So when he's there, you got to really, really focus in and listen to what he's hearing. Maybe not how he's saying it, but listen to what he's saying.
The scrappy voice,
Yeah.
Hey, I got one more, and then I'll let Mateo ask a couple questions. So can you who's a player that we may be unfamiliar with? Because I know there's a lot of change on the defensive line this year, like that you're kind of impressed with, or you expect some good things from some of the younger kids, like Dalton or Dominic Oliver or whoever it may be. Like who should we keep our eye on?
I think a lot of those younger guys have made tremendous strides this spring and this offseason. Darian's one of them. Dom is also one of them. Both of them have become more physical and have really honed in and been like, okay, I'm here to do this. And both of them are going to be guys that we need this year, and they're going to be playing a lot. Our transfers have done very well as far as picking up, the defense. Tupu and Sam, I think they've done a great job. I'm excited to be there with Dan. Dan's been doing great for as much as he can. And then Wyatt Drager as well had a really good spring, and he's just a tough dude. He's here to work every day. And Wyatt, you can always rely on Wyatt to be there and be a tough guy that's just gonna, be there and get the job done no matter what it is. So I'm excited for really everyone this year in that D-line room, because I think from when they've been here, or since even this last year, from January till now, I think a lot of those guys have made tremendous strides and are going to do some really good things this year.
I was telling Mateo earlier, one of the more exciting things is some of the change that comes with, graduation and seniors moving on, and seeing some of the younger guys and seeing what they could do.
That's kind of been the story of our program, is really just, new guys are coming in. You're excited to see what they do. I mean, Mekhi Shaw last year, you watch him in practice, he works his butt off, and then you see him in games, you're like, there we go. I mean, that's going to be one of our guys. He's just a stud, and he's there to work. And a lot of our team, I think our coaches do a really good job at recruiting and finding guys with that kind of attitude that are just willing to work. And no matter how long it takes, they know once they get their shot, they're going to get the job done. And looking from the outside in, and looking from the inside, is whichever guy gets a chance, is they're going to work their tail off and do the best they can.
All good, man. Well, if there's one thing we could tell, that hard work ethic has allowed you to get to this position, Garret. I think you've earned your way to this spot, man, and we're excited for you to go out there and perform and do your best and work hard. If there's a central theme, I think, to this interview, is just that hard work, and we know that's what you're about, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank for the interview, man. I feel like a lot of people don't know you, don't get to know you, don't know what you're about, and learning about, the agriculture side and the hunting and what interests you. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm glad that you're part of the NIL deal, and I'm going to buy some of your gear.
No, I appreciate you guys for reaching out.
I'm excited.
No, I appreciate it very much. Thank you guys very much for having me on here and giving me an opportunity to talk with you and everything. So thank you.
Does your family come down to the games?
Yes, sir.
Have them stop by our tailgate.
I was going to say, my parents do a pretty good tailgate themselves. So my dad last year, he got a big cast iron pot and he made a big crab boil and was out there. It's got the big SD on it. It's like stands about this tall and can feed about 50, 60 people. So they did a big Cajun boil last year. And so if you see them, and I'll let my parents give them a heads up too to stop by, and same to you guys.
I want to try the venison. That's what I want. I want to try the venison.
When you got that catering company, they know what they're doing, man. They're doing tailgates right. We might have to stop over there.
Gonna have to. I'll let them know if you guys want to stop by, if you guys see them out there.
All right, for sure.
Yeah, man. Appreciate your time, and we'll stay connected and, you know, finish camp off well. And we'll be out there rooting for you, man. Appreciate your time.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Go Aztecs.
Your season, man. Go Aztecs.
Thank you.
Dude, he was, come on, he's one of our better ones, dude. I can't wait to buy his gear.
Dude, he's just all about the hard work, man. That upbringing out there in the valley. You know, as much trash as we talk about Fresno State and stuff, but the valley represents, I want to say, the better part of California in a lot of respects, dude. I mean, there's just a hard work ethic out there in that agricultural scene that you got to give respect to.
Dude, how crazy was it that he took his truck, drove out to El Centro, slept in there, and went got it on his own, dude?
Yeah, dude.
Crazy, man. That's awesome, dude.
That's not crazy. That's just, hey, you know, when you're used to being out there, being free, you know,
I'm not saying that,
all
like,
these people all over.
You don't even know where to go out there, you know? I've been out there. I've done it once.
Yeah.
But, man, it's like.
That's adventure, dude. That's adventure. Adventure time.